Good evening, everyone.
Good evening,
Angela.
Welcome. My name is Angela Ribeiro-Dray, and I am the chair of the Scituate Sister City, Cape Verde, Santa Catarina do Fogo Committee. On behalf of our committee, I would like to welcome you all to our second annual Cabo Verde Independence Day celebration. This is For those of you who have not attended our events before, the Scituate Sister City Committee was formed in 2022, but with the goal to recognize and celebrate the rich history of Scituate's Cape Verdean community. We are extremely thrilled to follow in the steps of the Scituate Sister City Soucy-en-Brie, France, and the Sister City West Cork, Ireland Committee. And we enjoy having their support and collaboration. Tonight, the committee has the honor to celebrate the 49th anniversary of independence. We come together not only to celebrate independence and culture, but also to embrace the spirit and unity and collaboration. We have a message from Octavio Gomes, the General Counsel of Cape Verde, who was unable to attend tonight. He was celebrating Independence Day in Boston with the Prime Minister of Cape Verde, so we didn't get chosen. So we're going to start this evening with the singing of the national anthem by I like to call her our own, Carina Lopes Melody.
I'm going to start with the American national anthem, and then I'll do the Cape Verdean. Oh, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in there, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the Thank you. Now for the Cape Verdean national anthem. Canta irmão, canta meu irmão, que liberdade e homem a certeza, com dignidade inteira semente, não pode ir a lua, não deixe nada da vida, esperança é do mar que nos abraça, sentinela de mares e ventos, perseverante entre estrelas e o Atlântico. Entoa cântico da liberdade. Canta, irmã, canta,
entertaining us later this evening with her beautiful voice. She will be singing some of her original songs. Next, I'd like to welcome Karen Canfield from the Select Board.
It is entirely unfair to go after that. On the select board from the town of Scituate, it is my honor to welcome you all here on behalf of the select board in the town. And I just want to say, I love this event. It was so great last year. To see so many people returning is such a credit to how this committee has really pulled together something special. But I wanted to just say that, over the years, lots of people have really good ideas. And this was a really good idea to have a sister city with Cape Verde. But what it took was hard work, dedication, and many of the people in this room to make sure that it got off the ground, they figured out how to collaborate with the other sister cities, and to make this a program we can all be proud of. And we are very honored to see another local celebrity in the room. Nice to see you, Senator. Didn't know you were going to be here. Lovely to see you. I'll let you come next, right? But it is such an honor to be on the select board and have a community that acknowledges all of the voices in our community and gives everybody an opportunity to come together for a celebration like this. So have fun tonight, save a dance for me, and happy Independence Day.
Well, I didn't know we were having a guest. Would you mind?
Oh, we're going to make her up. You want me to introduce it? Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah. So she's a politician. She can handle this impromptu. But for those who don't know, Senator Liz Miranda. Liz Miranda is I believe, the only descendant of Cape Verdean ancestry that is serving the state legislature. And totally putting her on the spot here, but I just wanted to make sure we knew she was here.
Thank you so much. Boa noite para tudo. For those of you that speak Creole, you understood what I said. For those that speak English, just say good night. My name is Senator Liz Miranda, and I'm actually the first Cape Verdean woman to serve not only as senator, but as a rep in the entire country, and so I'm so excited that I get to do that. You sound so beautiful, by the way. My colleague, Patrick O'Connor, couldn't be here this evening, and I told him I wanted to come to Scituate for very personal reasons. One, my family. I have the Veigas here in Scituate, if you know them. Primas and primos. But I like to tell people that the story of my family, like many Criollos, starts with my great-grandfather. He came to Scituate in the early 1900s, worked in a cranberry bog. His name was Marcelino Miranda. And we never got to meet him. My own grandfather never got to meet his own father because of the voyages back and forth and building families. And we've been able, since 1952, descendants of my family have been able to see his grave and come here. We've even seen the home that was on the cranberry bog farm that he worked on. So Cape Verdeans are incredibly proud. They built Scituate. They built Boston, Taunton, Brockton, the Cape and Islands, and we should be very proud of this 250-year history that we've had with the United States. So happy Independence Day. I just wanted to come celebrate. I want to get some pachuca. Hopefully there's some girl groups so we can celebrate, but thank you all. That was a very nice surprise. Thank you. Next, I am going to introduce Barbara Burgo from the Cape Cod, Cape Verdean Museum and Culture Center.
I know very little Creole, but I can actually say muito obrigada and boa noite, and I am so honored to be here. I had another change of clothes. We got talking about Cape Verde, and you know how that goes. I didn't even get back to the car. I love Scituate. Scituate has come to the Cape Cod, Cape Verdean Museum and Cultural Center, the first year we were open. Folks asked me when we were established. During COVID, we got our 501c3 in 2019, but we didn't open the doors in East Falmouth until 2021, when we were honored to have Senator Miranda there with us. And Rep. David Vieira also helped us get the space we're in. It's a small farm, former farm in East Falmouth. The house is preserved, so we can't do many changes. But the wonderful thing about Falmouth, whoever has family out there like Les, they donated the property to us for $0 for the first 2 years. Then a wonderful Cape Verdean who wants to remain nameless came to visit, loved it so much, and he paid this year's rent. He just wrote a check for $2,000 and said, here you go. I love what you're doing here, because as many of you know, we started with just that small, like I say, proverbial pebble in the pool, and it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. We started with just wanting folks to know, like we were talking in the other room, what a Cape Verdean is. Cranberry bogs, yes, that was important. But in 2011, when I moved to Cape Cod to semi-retire, which I never will, from Taunton, all I kept hearing was, oh, we know you Cape Verdeans. You're the cranberry people. And I say, if you knew us, you wouldn't be saying Cape Verdeans. And yes, we rest on the shoulders of our ancestors. They worked hard in those bogs. You see the cranberry book that I have on the table. You see the cranberry scoops, and we have a donated one that's 100 years old in the museum. We let the students that come in from Falmouth schools lift and try to see if they could have worked as hard as our grandparents did on those bogs for $1 a day or $2 a day or whatever it is they did. We rest on their shoulders, but I also say that place was a strawberry farm where we are. It was owned by an Azorean family. We know the history. We have to tell the truth. The Portuguese were our colonizers. Why I said yes to that space is because the Azorean man who owned that farm had people working on his farm, strawberry picking from New Bedford and all over the Cape. And when someone said anything bad about us, Cape Verdeans, he was right there to defend us. Strong, hardworking, good, honest people. Please, kind of like we heard, can we all just get along? When Don Blake Sousa came to visit us at the Cape Verdean Museum, we had a book signing for her. She came down Davisville Road and started to cry. The chora. I said, Don, what are you crying for? She said, you won't believe this. When I was a young girl before my mother died, I wanted to know where she used to pick strawberries. And it was right on that farm from New Bedford. It gave her a warmth that motivates, right? That only Cape Verdeans know. And so part of the museum is a historic room, a room with a timeline to when people say, well, I don't know much about it or the history. So we've got a timeline there that starts with the Europeans going there. Dr. Richard Loban was my instructor at Rhode Island College when I started learning about my Cape Verdean-ness. 1995, when we celebrated 20 years of independence at the Smithsonian Mall, I was called by Rudy Santos, who was the first president of the Brockton Cape Verdean Association, and my sister's father-in-law. He was like a father to me. He called from Brockton. He said, you've got to go. Go where? They're celebrating us at the Smithsonian Mall. Why? 20 years of independence, you know that story. Trains and planes and automobiles are all going to the Smithsonian. So I said I had to go. I've got to see this. And I went and I saw Cape Verdeans from all over the world, a sea of Cape Verdeans. I listened to the music. It captured my soul. I saw men from Cape Verde laying the cobblestones, except I didn't see the tools that we use. They didn't need the levels, and they didn't need the rulers and such. They did it by hand, naturally. Then I went into the Smithsonian Mall Museum, and there we were on the walls. And what did I say? Like anybody in this room could have and should have said, if they can celebrate us at the Smithsonian Mall in Washington, D.C., in these museums that our entire country owns through our taxes, how come we can't have a Cape Verdean museum in every single state in this country? No, a few years later I said, how come we can't have a Cape Verdean museum in every single city in this country and town in this country? Other folk on Cape Cod, they tell me there are 70 museums. We have one. I want 10 more, and I'm getting ready to start it. Where's your museum in Scituate? Where's your museum in Rockland? Where's the museum in Boston? Where is it? We are not just cranberry pickers. Judge George and Layton, rest his soul, many of you know of him. He was a remarkable human being, a history maker all by himself. He would say, we are berry pickers. We were berry pickers. But he went from berry picking, not even graduating high school, to the service, came back, was working in Boston peeling potatoes, and said, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. He then started his journey. An essay contest, he won. He said, I want to leave Massachusetts. It was really too racist back then. You know that racism just didn't happen in the South. We still had and have our issues today. He said, I want to go to an all-black university. He picked Howard. They said, George, you can't, you haven't graduated from high school. They can't matriculate you. They showed him a way through a dean at Howard who said, George, you can't, you didn't graduate. He said, give me a chance. You know us Cape Verdeans, Air Force, huh? Give me a chance. I have money. And of course, the dean said, with money you can take a class or two. You can't matriculate, but we'll take your money. He took 2 classes, aced them. They gave him a chance. All we need is a chance. He graduated magna cum laude from Howard University. He did the same thing when he came back here. I want to go to Harvard. Give me a chance. He graduated from Harvard Law School. He started in Chicago, where he chose to go, where there are many more blacks, opportunities for blacks there, and he started one of the first ever all-black law firms. Why I'm saying this to you is because George and Layton, before he died, I had the honor of interviewing him 3 times. We have his papers, and he signed them, giving me permission to write his book. If anyone has anything personal to share about Judge Layton, please let me know. He died at 105 years old. Before he died, I said to him, did you ever think you would live to see a black president? And he said, no, but when that young senator came to visit me in my office,
It wasn't me, it was Obama.
It wasn't you? Oh, I'm looking at you because, you know, karma kismet with that young senator. It was Obama. We are mentors, judges, lawyers, nurses, senators, moms and dads. With Eugenia Forts, I said to her, look at all you have done. And she said, Barbara, I'm just me. She was a friend to Judge George N. Layton. She started the Cape Cod NAACP. There's more of her story in there, so when you go by the table, you wonder why Eugenia Forts was there. Her nephew told me they actually, at her house in Hyannis, her back house, because proper Cape Verdean single women didn't have men in the household, she had a back house. Thurgood Marshall visited her. MLK Jr. visited her. And her nephew told me they started penning Brown versus Board right at Eugenia's house. She was amazing. She kept saying, I'm just me. And the end of this story is that when somebody else said, well, what else have Cape Verdeans done? Tell me this. I said, don't ever forget that we also lived and died for this country. How about Cape Verdeans in the military? We have a full military room. I wrote a grant for Mass Humanities 2 years ago, $10,265. I said, I want to know about all our Cape Verdeans who came from the old country and came to this new country, but gave of themselves. And so we started looking up as far back as we could go. I have footage of folks that have already passed on from World War I. I have footage from World War II. But I interviewed a man from Taunton. He was a postman. He had on his wedding uniform. They used to wear the uniforms as proud as they could be for, at their nuptials. And it had a little buffalo lapel on the lapel. And I said, sir, was that a Buffalo Soldier? He was a member. Adelino Pete Paulo. I asked Senator Pacheco, how come we can't get a bridge named after somebody who was from Cape Verdean descent? You got bridges all over the place for everybody else. What about us? And he said, who? When? Where? And I said, how about a former Purple Heart veteran of World War II who became a postman, one of my mother's best friends and the most modest, decent human being you could meet. There is now a bridge on High Street in Taunton named after Adelino P. Paulo. We got that to happen. We have military folks from World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, Desert Storm. We have women and men on that wall. Those walls, we have one wall for each, okay? And we have 5 because there's the Army and the Navy and the Marines and the Air Force, and of course we have the Coast Guard. We can never forget our Coast Guard. And Milton keeps begging me, can I have a copy of that documentary? Because he happened to be in Falmouth one time when we were working with FCTV to get this started. And he said, I wasn't in the military, Barbara, but my uncle was. And his brothers. And so he sat for us that day, and we started talking about your famous former policeman in Scituate. Say it?
Hippolito Andrade.
Hippolito Andrade. Who remembers him? Why, Hippolito Andrade. And we had a wonderful conversation. He told me he never... Hippolito Andrade. Say it again. Thank you. He told me if you didn't behave, what Milton said was he would spank your butt all the way home, right? But what he said was he was the one of the finest police officers in the state of Massachusetts. I would venture to say probably in the world. I love Scituate. Someday, one of these days, we're going to get together and see that documentary. You will be impressed because we just came back from Cape Verde. UNICEF president was here a couple of months ago and said if we want to, he could set us up in a room to show that documentary. What we called it is, and you can see the trailer, any of you that want to go on there, through FCTV, I believe they put it on YouTube, Cape Verdeans, a legacy of service. And you wait till you see these proud men and women who served for this country and for Cape Verde. I won't spoil the surprise. The last piece is, I thank you all for what you're doing. Not only the Sister City program, we've got a Sister Schools program going from Falmouth. We're going to be going back to Cape Verde in October. But I would be remiss if I didn't say that on Wednesday night, the Consul General was there at Venus de Milo. Our museum received a Medal of Merit, first degree, for the cultural exposure and awareness that we are giving the world on behalf of Cape Verde in the presence of the Prime Minister. I'm just me. Anyone who wants to have any help in getting started with a museum here in Scituate, it would be finer than the one I have. You folks have many more people involved, and I think a little more money than we do. We would help. Brockton wants to do one. Taunton wants to do one. I think we should help realize my dream. When they said, would you ever think that you would have gotten a Medal of Merit from the government of Cape Verde? Our museum, our board members were there. And I said, not in my wildest dreams. I couldn't even have dreamt that high and that far. But you want to know what my dream is now? My dream is now to work with all of the folks like you so that we can see what I said in 1995, before I died. I want to see a Cape Verdean museum in every single city in this country. Viva Cabo Verde!
Thank you, Barbara. Our last guest speaker is Carla Veiga.
Thank you guys for being here tonight. I will not delay. So I am reading a poem from one of my books. It's titled Cabo Verde. It is in English though. Shaped in your image, I lie in the Atlantic blue, rising with the tides, with every pull from land to celestial moons. I live in the space of voice and culture for my people. To the youthful layers that tell a tale of torment, rising in the ashes of volcanic tremors. In hearts of oppression, sculpt my image in the interlude of an evolving nation. With an impressionable tongue, swift movements with a distinct flavor for an identity. I am but Cabo Verde. In the rise of ash, I am eminently present. In the photons illuminating the flame, I am their reflecting light among the shadows. Elemental beauty in serenade lies in echoes of sorrow and complete jovialty. To exist among the surrounding masses of allies. You, and you. Thank you. Enjoy the night.
Thank you, everyone. On behalf of the Scituate Sister City, Cabo Verde, I would like to thank you all for joining us this evening and hope that you stay, sample some delicious Cape Verdean food, listen to the music, mingle, ask Barbara more questions. Carina, like I said, will be performing for us later. We have Zach Alves, our own Zach Alves from Scituate. And again, I do want to say thank you, Karen. Thank you to the town of Scituate for your support. And we love seeing the Cape Verdean flags in the harbor. Again, that brings Cape Verdean community much pride and joy. Thank you. Have a great night.